In a small coastal village surrounded by endless ocean waves and dense emerald forests, lived a boy named Kyle. The son of a fisherman, Kyle spent his days mending nets and dreaming of what lay beyond the horizon. One fateful evening, as the setting sun painted the skies gold, a mysterious traveler arrived in the village. The traveler was cloaked in faded robes and carried an ancient brass compass that gleamed faintly, as though it held secrets of the stars. When Kale approached out of curiosity, the traveler smiled and handed him the compass. "This is no ordinary compass," the traveler said. "It doesn't point north. It points to where your heart truly belongs." Kale was skeptical, but as soon as he held the compass, its needle began to spin wildly before settling on a direction deep into the forest. The traveler chuckled. "It seems you have a journey ahead of you." That night, Kale packed what little he had, a loaf of bread, a flask of water, and his father's old fishing knife, and set off into the woods. He followed the compass, which seemed to hum with energy. Days turned into weeks, and the forest grew darker and more tangled, testing Kale's resolve. One day he encountered a raven caught in a hunter's snare. The bird's black eyes mirrored desperation and fear. Remembering his father's teachings to always respect life, Kyle freed the raven. As it took flight, it circled above him and dropped a shiny silver feather at his feet. Kyle picked it up and noticed the compass needle shift ever so slightly. The feather, as light as air, glowed faintly, guiding him to a hidden cave nearby. Inside, he found a woman weaving tapestries of such beauty that they seemed to breathe with life. "I am the keeper of thread," she said, her voice as soft as wind through leaves. "You seek your destiny, but first you must face yourself." She handed Kyle a mirror. "Look and tell me what you see." Kyle hesitated but then gazed into the mirror. At first he saw only his reflection. Then the image began to change. He saw himself as a fisherman, forever tied to the village. He saw himself as a sailor, navigating unknown seas. He saw himself as an old man, sitting by a fire, regretting the paths he had never taken. "I see possibilities," Kyle whispered. The keeper smiled. "The compass reveals your path, but only you decide to walk it." Kyle left the cave, carrying the silver feather and a newfound determination. The compass now pointed toward the mountains in the distance. His journey took him across treacherous cliffs and roaring rivers. Along the way, he encountered others: a merchant weighed down by his riches, a warrior searching for peace, and a poet who had lost his words. Each encounter taught Kale something: the value of simplicity, the courage to seek balance, and the power of dreams. Finally, Kale reached the peak of the highest mountain, where the compass needle stopped. There he found an ancient tree, its roots winding deep into the earth and its branches stretching into the heavens. Beneath the tree sat the traveler who had given him the compass. "You have arrived," the traveler said, their voice echoing like a distant song. "But where am I?" Kyle asked. "You are at the place where your heart aligns with the world," the traveler explained. "This tree stands at the center of all things. Your journey has shaped you, and now you must decide how you will shape the world." Kyle closed his eyes, listening to the whispering leaves, the distant waves, and the rhythm of his own heartbeat. He understood now that his journey wasn't about finding a place. It was about finding himself. When Kale opened his eyes, the traveler was gone, but the compass remained. Its needle now pointed back to his village. Kyle returned, not as the boy who left, but as someone who had touched the essence of the universe. Years later, the villagers whispered stories of the man who could navigate any storm, unite the lost, and see the unseen. But Kyle knew his true treasure wasn't the compass or the wisdom he had gained. It was the courage to follow his own path. And so the wanderer's tale began anew with every soul who dared to hold the compass and listen to its song.